anything, I began to read. She settled back to listen. Though a small smile tipped the corners of her mouth, I thought maybe she'd rather have heard stories that never grow old. I read a few poems while this weight in the pit of my stomach kept getting heavier. The next thing I knew, Miss Benson was saying, "How about an eye bouquet?" Her asking took me by surprise because I'd already proven on Saturday that eye bouquets weren't really my thing. When I didn't answer, she said, "I'll give you one first." "All right," I said. "Freckles," she said, "and hair the color of pulled taffy, green eyes, a misty green like the sea." For a moment I sat there, feeling dumb, until what Miss Benson had said began to dawn. I had freckles, and my hair, well, it is the color people like to call dirty blonde, though I always hated that description. I keep my hair as clean as anybody's. But if you were going to be really nice, you could say it's the color of pulled taffy. And my eyes? Were they green like the sea? Slowly the truth dawned. "Rizza's been here," I said. It came out sounding like an accusation. "She came Sunday afternoon. She's a nice girl. I'm sure the two of you are going to be great friends." I ignored that because an idea was rising in me like dinner on a rocking boat. The blue book was gone from the place where I'd hidden it. I already knew she was a liar. Now I knew she was a thief too. "Okay," I said, "I can give you an eye bouquet." "Hair," I was going to say, hair that's never seen a brush, but something stopped me. Instead I said, "Hair the color of chestnuts." I paused. That was pretty good. And Rizza's hair was a nice reddish brown. And eyes like bits of sky. I didn't even know I'd noticed those things about Rizza. What a rich color her hair was, tangled or not, and the brilliant blue of her eyes until I'd named them. "Sorry," I said, standing suddenly. "I've gotta go, but I'll be back tomorrow." "Come back anytime, dear. I like having you here." She wouldn't say that when she found out her book was missing. Then she'd think I was the thief. She'd never suspect Rizza of stealing a book, Rizza who refused to read, Rizza with her pretty eye bouquets. I stalked across the hall and knocked on Rizza's door. I could hear the TV, but no one answered. I knocked again, harder, and then I turned the handle. I was surprised to find the door unlocked. Some people are so careless, and I peeked in. 2 pairs of sky blue eyes stared back at me from the couch. One of the little boys mumbled, "Who are you?" "Rizza's friend," I lied. "She here?" "She took Andrew and went," said the one who had talked before. "She told us to sit right here." He gave me a warning look. "She told us not to let anybody in." Who was Andrew? The baby? And where was their mother? This was Monday. She must be working. Rizza was supposed to be taking care of these boys. Well, so much for counting on her for anything. "When will she be back?" I demanded, stepping closer. "She's got something of mine." No answer. so I moved between the couch and the TV. And that's when I saw it, a tattered blue book on the couch, open to a picture of a cheerful train climbing a steep hill. I snatched up the book. "Where did you get this?" "Riza," the talker said. "I'll bet," I replied. "Miss Benson gave it to me and I gave it to them." I whirled around to see Riza holding a baby. He was asleep, his fat cheek pressed against her shoulder. Riza seemed small. "Miss Benson gave it to me," she said again, as though she knew I didn't believe her, "on Sunday." "Where did you find it?" I demanded. "Why did you hide it?" Riza countered. The question hung in the air. Why had I hidden the book? Something about not wanting Riza to horn in on my good deed? I tried another attack. "How come you went off and left your brothers? Something terrible," she interrupted. "Andrew was sick. His temperature got really high. I couldn't get a hold of my mom, so I went looking for a doctor." As she said it, she staggered like she couldn't hold up that lump of a baby for another minute. Suddenly I could see how scared she'd been. Scared for the baby, scared to leave her brothers, probably scared to walk into some doctor's office alone. "Here," I said, "let me take him." I lifted the baby away from her, feeling how hot he was. Riza rubbed her nose with the back of her hand. Had she been crying? "The doctor gave him a shot. He called my mom. Her boss let the doctor talk to her. She's coming home soon." I laid the sleeping baby on the couch, took a tissue out of my pocket, and wiped his nose. "I bet Miss Benson would have watched the boys while you were looking for the doctor," I said. For a moment we both stood there, considering the word watch. "I didn't think of that," Riza said softly. Then she lifted her chin and added, "I found her book in the wastebasket." "Did you tell her?" Riza tossed her head. Her pretty chestnut hair had been brushed that morning and it flowed like a horse's tail. "Of course not. What do you take me for?" Something deep inside my chest loosened a bit. "Miss Benson said if I read aloud to my brothers, it would help me get better." A slow blush touched her cheeks, made her ears flame, even reached the roots of her hair. I knew she was telling the truth. "I'm going to read to her sometimes too," she added. That's really great," I stammered, and I knew it was. Really. "You'll be helping her and she'll be helping you, a kind of a good deed both ways." "A good deed?" Riza laughed. "Is that what you call it?" "Riza," one of the boys interrupted, "would you read to us some more?" She looked sideways at me, and I knew that it was me, snotty me, who'd kept her from reading out loud before. "Why don't we take turns reading to them?" I said. "That would be fun." Riza considered my offer. "Okay," she said at last, "just so it doesn't count as a good deed." "It doesn't," I said. "I promise."